With the use of AI and Gen AI expected to increase exponentially, it is crucial to have solid IT foundations in place. So what's needed to be well prepared? We're excited to have with us today Thomas Schelens. He's the Group Head of Cloud Services at AXA. Thomas will talk about AXA's move to operational excellence and how their cloud transformation is laying the foundations to effectively use Gen AI and improve their data capabilities. Please welcome Thomas Schelens.
Thank you very much. So I'm happy to talk about our ambition at AXA, about using, of course, Gen AI use cases and moving into this very big disruptive new world. But at the same time, I want to emphasize a little bit what are the prerequisites that we've been working on for years now in order to get there. And you see here the name Unlock the Future. That's the name of the new strategic ambition of the group of AXA. It was released just a couple of weeks ago. And then you see another logo, Cloud at AXA. And you might wonder, why are we going to talk about cloud? Cloud is a commodity, it's over. And guess what? It's not. And I will emphasize what's needed in order to build the foundations to really reap the benefits of everything we see in terms of the use cases of generative AI and data and so on. But let me first introduce you a little bit to AXA. So we're a global insurance company, as you know, quite one of the biggest, with roughly 150,000 employees, around 100 million clients, a bit more than 100 billion of revenues, and we are operating in more than 50 countries. Just to add that we are a general insurer, so we are covering all the type of risks you can imagine in terms of P&C, life and savings. So you will find everything in the portfolio, also across all the geographies. So we are operating in South America, as well as in Asia, as well as in Europe. So really a global player. And of course, at that scale, it's important for us to contribute and to follow the trends on the market. And as you can see here, just as I mentioned a couple of weeks ago, a new strategic cycle was launched by AXA, a strong transformation with the three pillars that you can hear. First of all, driving higher growth. And this is through various means, for example, fostering the distribution network, also looking at new kind of risks to protect. There might be cybersecurity or others. You can see also on the pillar number 3, a topic about inclusive insurance. That's a very important element for our strategy in order to be able to extend the scope of our purpose also to those who might not have access to be insured so far. But I'm going to talk more about the pillar number 2, which is scaling excellence for customers. And here we are talking about the operational excellence where IT and all the prerequisites and the transformation we've started many years ago is going to play an important role. And of course, also this is also supporting all our technical capabilities in terms of claims processes, automation, etc., that I will also talk about in a minute. So if we zoom into this second pillar, the second pillar of our transformation regarding operational excellence, what is behind? So you can see here we are talking about tech, data, and operations strategy. And this is really relating to how can we, at AXA, use our existing ecosystem and evolve it in order to simplify it, in order to standardize it, in order to make it ready for the future. And so this appears to be a bit of common sense, but it is not so obvious as AXA has a history of acquisitions, and so there's a high level of diversity of systems, infrastructure, applications, processes. So it's really important to start and to continue the transformation that we've launched a couple of years ago in order to have a scalable technology landscape. And technology includes, of course, a standardized application landscape, which is not so easy because as we are operating globally from a group perspective in order to have a level of convergence, including local specificities and regulatory requirements, it's not always easy. But however, at the same time, there are opportunities to optimize. For example, a claims process is probably pretty much the same in many geographies. So first of all, to fuel our pillar of the strategy, we really need to put in place scalable technologies. And here, of course, the cloud is a prerequisite, is an absolute key element that we also need to leverage. And the cloud, when I talk about cloud, it's always a topic about, how far are we able to move into the public cloud, especially in the insurance sector. So we have implemented, or we have started to put into a strategy, technology strategy very early, that one of our key elements of our technology transformation will be based on adopting public cloud solutions. And from the feedback we get from our cloud providers, but also talking to my colleagues from other companies, I think I can say that AXA is very much at the forefront of adopting public cloud services compared to the market. And this is thanks to the strategy that we've put in place a long time ago. Systematically, we're going to work on our operational excellence through automation. And this is also an important capability that comes along with IT capabilities, but not only. But this is something that we need to further support. And it starts with the back-end IT systems, but it goes, of course, also up to the operational processes in the business. Deep tech, data, and operations expertise. What does it mean? So actually, when you look at us, when you look at insurance, the two key pillars of what we are doing is data and people. So the disruptive challenge or the disruptive thing that we see at the moment about how data can be used and be fed into solutions that can or that are leveraging generative AI is absolutely close or very close to the heart of the business of insurance. Because that's what we are doing. We're handling data, and we have the people to do so. So our transformation in the tech data ops strategy here is very much aligned with what we see on the market, which is probably the biggest disruptive event that we saw with the introduction of generative AI. However, now I would like to take a step back because I saw a couple of presentations, yesterday and today, and there are a lot of good ideas. There are a lot of very important elements about, how can we use new use cases of generative AI. There are intelligent chatbots, there are others, but in order to really use the power of those solutions, they need to have access to our data. And having access to data means that we have unified IT systems and data sources. And if you have a company that is operating across the globe, and that consists of more than 50 operating companies that are all collaborating in a more federative approach, we don't have a single, let's say, IT, we have a single standardization engine, group operations, a kind of headquarter that is driving this forward. But there's no single IT organization. You can imagine the challenge, especially as in the insurance business, a lot of our core systems are still relying on technologies that are pretty much outdated. So I think it's safe to say if we are going to large insurance companies, they will still have a significant footprint of mainframe back-end systems that their business is relying on. And that's not different with AXA. So in the end, in order to be able to have safe access to the data, in order to leverage generative AI models and to train based on our intellectual property, because we don't want to give away the data. It's our data, and it's very, it's very precious. We say data is the new gold. Everyone says that. It means we have to put in place a technology convergence strategy that allows us to go fast in order to provide the access to the data that is going to bring the real benefit to the AI cases that we want to implement. And that sounds probably it doesn't sound so easy when I hear myself speaking. I think it sounds not so easy. And that's the reason why I think it's important to reflect a bit on the fact that for large companies like AXA, it's super important to run very heavy transformation projects for IT and infrastructure to get to the point where we are really able to use the data in a secure way in order to feed the use cases of the future. And that's interesting because whenever we look at some of the very, very interesting and very sophisticated solutions during the 2 days, from my perspective, they are just adding to the complexity to our existing landscape if we are not able to also master all the backend system and all the systems and all the environments and processes that we have built over the many years before. Yeah. So here, I would say, at a certain point in time, AXA made the right choice because the cloudification journey, and cloudification is not to be seen only as a technology term, it's really a modernization of how we work because it comes along with agile ways of working, it comes along with new methodologies, with new technologies, with a new mindset. There's a very important element of the strategy that we've put in place, for example, on how we are going to approach the market, the talents that we can get from the market. We engaged in this journey around 2016. So that's where we started to build our own, I would say, business application platforms based on cloud services, because cloud services cannot be consumed just like this from any kind of cloud provider. Honestly speaking, I was there the early days with AWS. AWS was just a commodity client provider. They didn't have a clue about how to protect enterprises. When we're talking about secret data, when we are talking about backup and recovery, when we are talking about everything that's important for us as an insurer, those cloud providers were nowhere at that time. So we have co-developed with them to make them enterprise ready. You need to have the security in place. You have a tenant and subscription model. You need to integrate into your own IAM system, so identity management, etc. Am I allowed to use a certain resource in the cloud? This journey started many years ago, and actually, it was not an easy journey. We were, I would say, semi-successful because a lot of the, let's say, our own maturity, our own experience with the cloud was not yet in place, but also the cloud providers learned with us, may it be AWS or Microsoft. It's quite interesting to see how they evolved in order to become enterprise ready to support financial services institutions. Now, at the moment, we are running the largest transformation program of the group ever. And you see some key figures here. More than 600 employees are involved. I mean, it doesn't sound a lot, but this is across the whole geography with the top, I would say, 20 operating companies, mainly in IT, but also in business. We are moving 30,000 servers, if we want to talk about infrastructure, which is representing roughly 7,500 apps that we are addressing here. And this is, of course, always a discussion about, okay, how do we combine such an, I would say, infrastructure or information system transformation with our business transformation? And this is a quite big challenge that we've been facing. You see some of the, I would say, guardrails or implementation principles on the top of the slide. So accelerating application modernization, building the necessary infrastructure, but also building standards. And this is also a big challenge, because if you have so many operating companies, we have similar or different implementations of the same business solutions across the board, but also about even infrastructure solutions or technology solutions. So we have started to really consolidate this, and through our transformation and migration to the cloud, we have been simplifying the landscape. What does that provide to us? And I think, and this is a bit, let's say now, the conclusion of what we are doing, and we are not done yet. Our transformation program is still running for the next 2 years, so until mid of 2026, we are going to continue to massively restructure our information system environments, our cloud environments. We are going to continue the migrations. But what we can see already, and this is also the beauty of the scale of such a group as AXA, we have been able to identify, at this moment, 400 different data and AI use cases across all the different lines of business. And fortunately, we are able to accelerate this by the benefits that we are getting out of the technology transformation that we started. Because without that, we would not be able to do it. One example, you can see here, what we call the secure GPT. We built, based on ChatGPT, on OpenAI, we built our internal secure GPT solution, because we also want to make sure that Gen AI becomes inclusive for everyone. We want our employees to feel the power of such solution, and this is a very much, I would consider, amongst all the models and use cases you can have, this is a commodity. Nevertheless, we need to start with something. This is super inclusive. We have given access to 150,000 people, and if they use it, we don't have to fear that any of the data is going to go public. It stays within our premises, and we stay the owner of the data. Of course, then a couple of other use cases are around hyper-individualization. We saw a couple of examples also here during the events. I think that is something that is also becoming a bit of a trend. Yeah? So, and will help a lot in order to build a better customer relationship in the future. We have something about geospatial, and I'm going to show you a small video just in a minute, because this is also related to being able to support the climate transition and assess the risk of any kind of assets, of buildings, of transportation, etc. And the geospatial solution that we've been able to put in place to pilot is going to support this massively. So the risk assessment, are we able to process or to protect the asset, and how are we going to do this? How do we identify any kind of change, in the environment, etc. And last but not least, this is something that is very IT internal, FinOps. Financial operations. I like to use the term. The AXA colleagues that are here with me, they know that this is a passion, because consuming the cloud is very, very expensive, especially when we are talking about any kind of Gen AI use case, and especially even more multimodal or image models. The highest consumption of CPUs at the moment is happening when you use Gen AI to generate images. So FinOps, of course, has the aspect of containing the cost and managing the cost of the consumption of cloud, but as a side effect, of course, you will have a positive impact on the environment as well. So using Gen AI in order to optimize the consumption of Gen AI is, I think, a very, very important and clever thing to do. So that's why I put it here, because even for us IT people, this is going to be a very important element. There are other use cases like AI ops. You do the operations, you identify if there's a failure on IT systems or whatsoever. I will just go on and show you quickly. Normally there should be a video starting just after this, and I'm not sure if this is going to work, I hope. I'm not sure if we can get the video still to see, because it was the transition actually from this slide to the next one. If not, I don't know if it's possible, but if not, fair enough. So there's a nice video that explains how AXA is basically leveraging the geospatial solution that we've built in order to better protect, assess the risk, and also regulate any kind of risks that are related to geographical elements. Okay? So, and this is my conclusion slide. First of all, this whole journey that we've engaged in many years ago does not work with the right people. You need to have, of course, the people, the skills, the expertise, the mindset. I mean, a couple of interesting side effects through going into this transformation in IT. We were starting to see that the average age of our population, of our experts in IT, was going down. Because if we are able to demonstrate and to show that technology is at the core of insurance, because actually insurance is technology, data and people, it is very attractive, and it attracts people who are coming from, cloud providers or other big companies. So attract and retain talents, and upskilling is a key element. We've created a cloud academy, for example, in order to do so. The second is cloudification. IT plays a role. It's not a commodity, it's not a hype, it's not over. The cloud is a prerequisite of being able to benefit from all the wonderful use cases that we've seen over the 2 days for Gen AI, for example. So we need to continue to work, and as I always say, keep our hands dirty with everything that is not so visible, but we have to continue to optimize our systems, move to the cloud, simplify and standardize. And last but not least, and that's why we have also not such a small delegation of AXA people here in events like this, we need to partner with the right companies. Okay, so this is an important element for us. We've done this in the past, and it has proven to be pretty successful in a lot of our business use cases. So, of course, this remains one of our key strategies as well, is to find the right partnerships for the specific use cases, for the specific technology, and to drive this forward. This was in a nutshell, the overview about our transformation. Thank you very much, and I hope you will get a chance to still see this wonderful geospatial video at some point. So thank you very much.